Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, it's Tuesday's request day. Today's map was requested by the creator over on Facebook. Link will be coming on the screen fairly shortly. And there's also, of course, in the description, along with my Twitter, my Discord, and also my inside leg measurement, which you'll be very impressed to hear. Oh, sorry, I've got to carry on with the map review. So it's a fantasy style map. It's an island map. It's got a very stylistic kind of feel to it, and it's not too bad. It's not going to suit those of you that want the highly polished, pristine, almost realistic looking fantasy maps. It's not going to do that. But what it does have is a real quirky, cutesy kind of look to it. And I think there's a place for it. But before we find the place for it, I've got a place for your finger. Could you put it right on my like button? Like button, people. Thank you for your ongoing support. Right, today's map is Tropico by Canister. Canister 1 is what I'm going with today. If I got it wrong, I apologise. Tropico, of course, is a different game altogether, but this is, I think, possibly inspired by that game. There's your start square. Got a rail running through it, and a river running through it, and the highway coming into it. There's your terrain heights. Big old volcano type thing going on in the middle of the map there. And then we've got resources, which are bold, field painting, and pretty strongly used. Again, stylised. If you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, you've got a fishing map that looks a bit dotty. I like that. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? No DLC required today. We'll be using... my voice is gone. We'll be using Seas Larimar tropical theme and the Seychelles a lot, along with a few palm trees and coconut trees and things like that, along with some ruins. Ruins, indeed. Right, there's going to be a little bit of this going on with the trees cutting in from the underside of elevated highways. Another thing you're going to see quite a bit of are elevated highways over the ocean. Yeah, and again, I think there's a place for this. Oh, here's said ruins. We're not coming back to this area. Let's have a quick glance at this area and then we'll move on. But please, please, please absorb that there are extra areas around the map that we will not be seeing today. But I think quite, let's say, quite quaint in a fantasy kind of way. Also, again, not coming back for a look at this sort of thing, but a little bit of undersea rock detailing, which just adds a little bit of edge to the map. The map is kind of simple. Again, not super unpopulated with detailing or anything like that, but it's quite a simple, stylized design. And these little things can just add a little bit of edge to the coastline. Speaking of coastlines, on your right hand side right now, you'll be seeing Annie. Oh, it's gone. And so we'll carry on. Yes, so all in all, my overall vibes of this map are it's going to be very playable for those of you that want a nice easy build, because it is a flat map. We've got the big old volcano in the middle, which could add for some interesting backdrops. And if you can look beyond the trees that are clipping through the underside of some of these highways, which again are easily removed with either the Move It tool or the bulldozer, of course, we have got some very interesting little detailed areas. Now, the detailed areas on some maps, they come together, they kind of like evolve and merge and kind of almost tell a story. It doesn't really on this map. We've got a map which I like the shape. I really like the shape of the map, and I really like the little areas. But it doesn't, for me, come together as a story. And I think probably partly because the map is so flat. You don't actually have the terrain leading you through into that story. Let's have a little look at... Oh, look at the boat here. Did he come around the inside? Is he going to... I think we may have shipping clipping. May. There's a possibility he manages to avoid the land, but we'll get to that. In terms of the rail over road and the slopes on the rail, this is a fantasy map, yeah? And within the realms of suspension of disbelief, those rail lines are possible. within the realms of suspension. Not saying they're not realistic, fantasy, but it's not like they're a 45-degree angle. They are plausible within the stretch of the imagination. See, ship on the other side there. Ship on the other side there. I'm wondering if that ship managed to find a way through the islands, and maybe there's a passing point somewhere. Or maybe we've got shipping clipping. Anyway, back to the map. Right, we're getting towards the start square. Now, we are following the road and the rail simultaneously today, so once we get to the start square, we'll be taking that intermission. Next intersection is coming up over here. A lot of money was spent on building these intersections over the water, so please treat them with all the respect they deserve. And I think they're quite nicely done. I do. I think they're quite nicely done. And then coming down to land over here and cruising in. The rail, I think, sort of like bounces a little bit there, but hey, I've seen worse. I have seen much worse than that one. And then in towards the start square. So we'll come back for the shipping after this. We'll check out for that shipping route. I've got a feeling there might be shipping clipping, although Erkanasta may have surprised me. Oh, this is the worst bit. That there, right by the start square, not allowed, I'm afraid.
Do you watch BonBonB with your morning coffee? Do you want to feel closer to the show? Then you need either the modern or retro mug from BonBonB. Click the information button now.
And so back to Tropico by Erkanasta 1 and that shipping route. Okay, let's just check it. Let's just check it. And it's going through, not just going through a lowish bridge, but also straight through the pillars there. And again, straight, didn't even have to do that, did it? It did not have to do that. Let's see if that's the only place. Because if that's the only place, that is we managed to avoid the bridge there. And we come this way. If that is the only place, that is an easily avoidable error. I would have liked to have seen the shipping route go into this harbour area there. And then it's all straight through the start square tangle of intersections. Oh no. Oh no. Do you know what? Oh no. And there you go. We cut through again. So yeah, there are a few places where the shipping route decides it's going to crunch through. And we go looping around the island there. A shortcut there would be better also. All told though, interesting routes. Water flow. We have the waterfall, which is a great way of getting a bit of momentum for your water to get water to push through the start square. Now, it's not a huge weight of water and it's not massively deep, but I think there's enough water moving there for a vanilla style build to get you started before you can buy into a second tile. Okay, map overall, I really like the shape of this. I really do. I think that's it makes good use of the entire 81 tiles as well. Considering we've got a big old mountain in the middle, it still gives us plenty of space to build into. Also, look at this. We've got a little prop in there. Okay, that's the building. Then you've got a rock, not quite in the middle there. A little bit of side rocks there. Little rock in the middle there. Little rock in the middle over there. I kind of like this. This is kind of like a stylized way of doing it. And not every field gets a little centerpiece. And it's fairly consistent across the map. Some big builds don't have them, and I think that actually works. I think that's a very good decision not to do this in every single field. Little desert area there as well, clearly. This is the feature point for me. I think this is excellent work. If we have a look at some of the images, like houses there, this is symbolising where we live on the island. We live underneath the volcano, which spews ash into the atmosphere, and it goes all the way around the Earth. You see, you can find a story in this. On top of that, if we go roughly more towards the middle of this the disc, we have what is clearly one of the pyramid type things there. And also, I think this is symbolic of the waves and the wind. So basically worshipping the environment. I think this is very nicely done. And the Mayan ruins, I think, in this little centerpiece, I think they work very nicely. I think that's very nice work indeed. Beaches are fine, actually. Again, they're very stylized done. They're very similar all the way around, consistent, and consistency is good on a map like this. And we got a little patches of palm trees just dotted around. I will make a slight point of the essential lighthouse right here. Ah, isn't she lovely? Yeah, lovely lighthouse, nice placement, or is it? Any ships getting to that lighthouse have come past this treacherous headland there, and I feel that would be a much better place for it. Fields, I'll skip over the fields, come back to the fields in a moment. There's plenty more things to check. We'll do some jumping around in a minute. Islands. Look at the size of this island. And very buildable. Possible BonBonB Island in the middle of the lake there. Probably a bit too flat for my liking. And we've got a big old volcano in the middle. Did you notice? Now have a look at the shape of the lake on the top of the volcano. Forget about the actual shape of the volcano, which is very striking, isn't it? But I love the shape of the lake. I think that is really nice. And then again, we've got the ruins on the top. Lots of dense detailing on the top of the lake also. We will be coming back here to have a look at something specific a bit later on. But I think that is exceptional work. That for me tells the story. Field painting. In the corners of these fields, you'll see we've got some nice straight lines going on. But these corners, they just look weird. Why would you do a field edge to there but not actually have the resources, or in this case the sand, go into the corner? So that looks a little bit rushed to me. Don't mind the fact that the fields aren't entirely straight, because that's kind of realism. Again, going back to the stylized kind of look, we've got a dotted rock, dotted rock, dotted rock, and roughly equidistant without being symmetrical. And again, these kind of work for me within the story of this map. Although it kind of lacks a bit of magic. Just a bit of magic. Waterfalls. Now, this one struggles, okay? We see the big old splosh. Lots of water coming over it. Big old sploshes at the bottom here thanks to these vanilla rocks, causing all sorts of bedlam. I like that bit, but there's no curtain of water running across the actual waterfall itself. Not one that's visible anyway. There might actually be water there, but it wants to be visible. And then we have another big old volcano here. I kind of like the water detailing down there as well. That's quite neat. There's a curtain of water. That's what we'd want the bottom one to look like. Good and strong. A very good waterfall there. This one struggles. It's almost a curtain. But I think the creator realised this and actually put a little bit of foliage detailing on the dry section. So I think they struggled with that one and tried to make the best of it. And then another waterfall here which just doesn't quite have the curtain. It tries so hard. You can see how it's just drawing a line across there. It is so close to being a very nice waterfall as well. So I kind of like one good one. Right, with clusters of trees, you want to be very careful on steep slopes. They just will look like they're hovering in mid-air. See if I can get my camera into a position here to show you better. But it's not just the clusters of trees. If you look at like these big tree trunks here, the vanilla tree trunks, you can see underneath it just clips out of the terrain quite heavily. So yeah, always be careful. They're better viewed from afar. Okay, let's just say that one. Better look great from afar. Now back up here, we've got something very similar with these edges of the volcano's crater. Again, these are non-terrain conforming plants and they are floating everywhere. So again, it just looks a little, once you get in, they don't look so great. We've seen one of these. I thought I'd show you it again because I've completely forgotten where we are on the map. And then we have this weird thing that we see occasionally. And for me, this is just a question of redrawing out this final bit of highway where the suspension sections don't match with the pillars. It happens, but it is easy to fix. It's also way out in the fog, so it's probably the least important thing on the map. I think we've covered everything. I think there were lots of things to talk about on today's little map, isn't there? And Start Square, which is around here, I'm going to move over to these fields for the asset of the day. And today we are looking at the Queen Anne one by cbudd. Now cbudd's doing a whole mix of these. These are buildings you'll find across America, but specifically in California, San Francisco, that kind of area. And they're an amazing looking building. There is definitely an inspiration coming across from England on these ones. And I guess Queen Anne would be the hint that these have got some sort of English history. And factoids, because factoids. About 70% of all of the living organisms in the world are, okay, think about it, 70% of all living organisms in the world. Insects? No. Bacteria. Ooh, of course. And now you're going, of course it's bacteria. Yes, 70%. Good grief. Good thing they don't get a chance to vote, isn't it? I'm sure in some countries they probably do. Anyway, the Queen Anne one by cbudd. They're very nice assets of the day. And if you want more buildings like that, do head over to their workshop. They've got a nice mix on the go. Right, made it to the end of today's show. Your chance to vote on today's map. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen, or the link in the description. It will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Gmail, Apple or a Patreon account. But what do I think of today's map? Well, it's quite pleasing. It's quite pleasing. I like the overall map design. I think some of the feature areas are very nice indeed. Some of them are okay. Some of them are a bit but some of them are very nice indeed. I think overall, rather than go down the middle with a clean 3, I'm going to go slightly above. Slightly above middle 3. Detailing. There's some very nice detailing. There's some slightly substandard detailing. And again, I think overall, with the amount, we've actually got a decent amount of detailing on the map. I think I'm going to have to go middle 3. It just needs cleaning up. But there's definitely talent here. Gameplay potential. If you're looking for a nice, easy, tropical map, fantasy map build, this is going to suit you very nicely. Anybody else, probably not. So it's playable, and it's probably going to be a nice build. I'm going to go for a high 3 stars. So Tropico, not the game, the map, by Urcanasta1. I am actually very pleased we found this. Well, very pleased it was shown to me by the creator. I say we found it. We didn't find anything. It was put in front of us by the creator. And you know what? I like it. I like it. I don't think it's going to suit for my sort of game style. Certainly wouldn't be one that I would play personally. But it doesn't mean I can't like it. Anyway, if you're still here, I can't find the reason not to be. Use the words of the day into the comments to score yourself some population points to prove you're part of the 20 and out elite. Make sure that word is part of a sentence to hide it from the rest of the community. And I'll be back tomorrow with another What map.